Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the College Football Show. It is the Big 12 preview, even though there's only 10 teams. The naming schemes are so dumb.
Sure.
It's so ridiculous.
I'll take it.
We have got some interesting teams to discuss. Dave Aranda's Baylor Bears. Steve Sarkisian is in the conference now. What is Iowa State going to be? I mean, just a ton of stuff to get into. And, of course, the national championship favorites, the Oklahoma Sooners. But before we begin, do us a favor. Click the link down in the description, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. That is your one-stop shop for all of your college football gambling content for the entire season. I'm telling you, the team over there is fantastic. They have got all the analysis that you were going to need to be able to win your bets this year. So go ahead and check that stuff out. It's in the description. While you're down there, while you're clicking around, pressing buttons, all that good stuff, hit the like button. It's the little thumbs up. Looks like that thing right there. Go ahead and do that for us, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can know when we have more videos coming out. Now, there will be things said on this preview, on this show, that you may want to argue with us about. And that's okay, because that's what college football is. It's what we love about this sport. All the debate, right? You feel like debating us, jump into the comments. We would certainly appreciate that. And if you don't want to do that, if you don't have a YouTube account, if you don't do whatever, you can always hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And if you are old school, if you are one of those people that was around when, when Baylor, Baylor was a recent winner, when Kansas was actually pretty good, right? You know, back in the day, like you got to be in your 60s at this point. So with that said, you can also email us. I'm Gary at winningcureseverything.com.
And I'm Chris at winningcureseverything.com.
Chris, let's start off with your Baylor Bears.
Okay.
Dave Aranda.
Yeah.
Left LSU. Things didn't work out so well in that first season, right? 2-7. The wrong end of several one-score games. That was certainly not what he was planning on. And it's not ideal when you are firing your offensive coordinator after your first season, especially in a COVID season, right? Larry Fedora did not work out whatsoever with quarterback Charlie Brewer. Brewer said, deuces, I'm out. I'm going to head over to Utah and play in this boring offense because it's better than this thing that you're doing. So with that, they bring in offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes from BYU. Had a really fun, he's known for his zone run scheme, right? Fun offense at BYU. Don't know what he's going to do at Baylor. I'm very curious with his first year. I'm sure much of the same. Oh, absolutely. But I'm curious, first year in, this is going to be a little strange, right? He's got no set quarterback now. It's an unstable offensive line. It's a non-existent running game from last season. The offense needs some kind of identity this year, and I think it's going to take a while to be able to get there. Defense returns 10 starters. And nearly every backup, almost the whole two deep is back. So that's definitely a step in the right direction, especially for Aranda. I will say this. I think they've got the best nickel in all of college football in Jalen Petrie. So at least the defense has got a scheme and everything that should be good. They have their identity. They went 1-3 in one-score games last year. They may have a lot of one-score games this year.
That's right.
I do
agree with that.
And so the win total is 5.5. To go over is plus 105. To go under is minus 135. SP Plus got them going 6-6. FBI's got them going 5-7. You look down the schedule, and I cannot find 6 wins here. Everything would have to go perfectly for this offense for them to get to even 6 wins for a bowl game, to me.
Wow.
So I'm going to go under the 5.5.
I'm going over the 5.5. I think their floor is 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I understand early, right? They got 3 wins right out of the gate: Texas State, Texas Southern, and Kansas. But then,
you don't think this team is significantly better than Texas Tech or Kansas State?
But I even with those two, I think that gets
that's
that's only 5.
But that's their floor. That means you're telling me they don't win a single coin flip game.
That game is at Kansas State, so I think they could absolutely lose it.
Okay.
I think as far as coaching goes, Chris Kleiman was not great last year, but I expect a bounce back from them, especially for a home game. I don't know. Like playing at Kansas State, coming off of a game against Oklahoma, like not ideal.
No,
so
not ideal at all.
And so you're going over.
You get Texas off of your bye week. That's a game they always
show up in. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that this is still a rebuilding project.
I do too, but I don't think 6 wins is not rebuilding considering I think you've got 5 games that you can win pretty easily. But that's my opinion.
So you're going with the plus juice, plus 105.
Yes.
I can get down with it. Cheers to that. Let's talk about a co-favorite in the conference, a team that is favored to get to the Big 12 title game. That would be the Iowa State Cyclones. Matt Campbell, the darling. Everybody loves old Matt. SP Plus got them going 11-1 this year. FPI's got them going 10-2. The win total is 9.5. To go over is plus 110. Plus 110. I mean, that's bananas. Conference odds to win the conference, plus 260. They are second there, so they are expected to get to the championship game. My question is, was last year the ceiling, right? This year, like quarterback Brock Purdy, all of his star tight ends return, running back Breece Hall, like a Heisman contender, all 5 offensive linemen, all of their leading receivers are back. But while they do have a bunch of returning receivers, returning guys, whatever, are they talented enough to actually win the conference? Like, is this group talented enough? I do know on defense, they certainly are. 9 starters back on defense.
No doubt.
The 2020 run defense gave up 3.2 yards per carry. I mean, they just shut it down. That defensive line is stout. They've got the second best linebacking unit in the country. They got NFL dudes at linebacker. Favorable road schedule, even with a trip to Norman. Outside of the trip to Oklahoma, they play at Kansas State, at Baylor, at UNLV, at West Virginia, at Texas Tech. Like, it's not a murderer's row. There's obviously some potholes there, but like I could see this team going 10-2. I'm going to go over for them, over 9.5, because I think they can be better than everybody else, other than Oklahoma, and that even includes a loss to Iowa that I've got on here.
I can't get to 10. 9.5 is just a big number.
Yes.
And if they get to 10, it won't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I can't get there.
So you are taking the minus 140.
Yeah. I just think 10's too big. 9.5 is just too big.
I can understand that. That was my whole question, right? Like, is this team, even with all the returning talent, even with what we saw them do to Oregon,
they're great.
like all that,
they're great. And there's like
I think there is a ceiling.
You can be the second best team in this conference at 9 wins, also.
Yes, 100%.
But
that does not make you national championship quality. No. That does not make you playoff quality. And that's I think the lack of talent here. Even with all the development that you can do, you still can't get them to that upper echelon.
Yep.
10 is going to be tough, but I think they can get there. I like the plus odds at going at 10 because I think that they can beat everybody else other than Oklahoma. And if I give them one more loss in there, like I think I'm good. So,
yeah, but I just think they're going to have more coin flip games than that.
I mean, I do think you're probably right. Like at West Virginia, probably coin toss.
I think they got 5 coin flip games.
Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Texas, TCU,
Iowa. I'm counting Iowa as a coin flip game.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, moving on from one of the best teams to one of the worst teams, and we hate to say that because we are fans of Lance Leipold, but the Kansas Jayhawks fire a coach in April. Hire a coach in, I guess, early May or late April, whatever it was. Went 0-9 last year, 3-9 the year before that. They their conference odds, if you want to bet on Kansas to win the Big 12, it is plus 15,000.
No, listen, just if you want to do that, call me.
Yes, he will take your money.
I'll take any of that action. We won't even tell anybody. It'll just be between friends. That's insane.
SP Plus and the FPI both have them at 2-10. Now, that is because of the way that those are done up. It's the percentage chance you have to win a certain number of games, right?
Yes.
And eventually it'll add up to where it gets close enough to 2.
You get some wins.
That you get some wins. But their win total is 1. Now, to go over is minus 200. To go under is plus 160. So if you think that they're going to go winless, then you can get your plus 160 here. Leipold, he takes over this team that has won one game in their last 18. One time in 18 games. That's pretty crazy. Kansas kept only one game within 14 points last year. We just had the story come out about them paying hush money to a kid to shut up about the harassment claims he was making against other players on the team. Kids selling drugs on the team. It's just a cesspool that has got to be cleaned up. Leipold does bring in 3 offensive and 3 defensive transfers from Buffalo to Lawrence. These are all guys that know the kind of program, the kind of culture that Leipold wants to do. How quickly can you get that implemented? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Bringing in these transfers should help with depth or even replace some of the starters. But this is going to be a project. Nothing they did on offense or defense created any kind of momentum towards this season whatsoever. And you have to wonder how much the players care, right? Can Leipold make them care by, August?
They can care all they want.
They're still not talented.
They're
I've
just not very good.
I've got them going over the 1 because I think that they can stumble into another. I think they can beat South Dakota in that first game, and even that one might be a little crazy. But I think they can. They play at Duke, they play Texas Tech. Maybe they can find another one in there somewhere. They can, because they do this every now and then. They find a win that they're not supposed to. And do I think Leipold's a fantastic coach? Yes. Do they catch somebody sleeping? Do they catch somebody that doesn't want to be in Lawrence at 11 a.m. on a Saturday? That's what I think is more likely than them going completely winless. So I'm going over the 1. Do I feel good about it? No chance.
Nope. I'm blanking.
You're blanking them. You're going under the 1.
Under the 1. Not a good football team. I think this place is a cesspool, and I think your first year of taking over a place like that, you have to burn it with fire. You got to burn it all down. You got to get in there, and you got to see which of these kids are worth a damn to keep, who wants to be there, who doesn't. Yep. You talked about that, who actually cares. And if it's some kids that aren't even the best players on this team that are the ones that care, those are the ones you got to play.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you got to play. So there's a good chance half of the players that you're going to play aren't even the best at their position.
That's true.
Because you're just going to have to let go of guys that don't want to be there and cause problems.
Yeah. It's going to be rough. So if you're a Kansas fan, we apologize. Yeah. But you are in good hands. So that is definitely a step in the right direction. Moving on from there, the Kansas State Wildcats. And boy, Chris Kleiman, last year, not great, went 4-6, started out hot, ended not hot.
Nope.
But that's okay. It had quarterback problems, all that kind of stuff. Skylar Thompson is back at quarterback, so that's good. He's back from injury. Running back Deuce Vaughn turned into one of the country's absolute most versatile playmakers. Offense has got some pieces to be creative here. And Kleiman has always been relatively creative at finding ways to move the football. The win total here is 5.5. To go over is minus 145. To go under is plus 115. They went 4-6 last year, went 8-5 in his first season. SP Plus and FBI both have them at 5-7 this year. The defense has got solid pieces. I mean, they have for the last how many years, but their tackle success rate last year was number 120 out of 127 teams in 2020. That is not good. They were not great at stopping explosive plays. They were number 81 in that regard. The fundamentals need to improve from last season. And man, it's weird to see that for a Kleiman team. Schedule, got 7 games expected to be one-score contests. This is supreme anxiety, and it could go good or bad depending on coin flips. I've got them going under 5.5, but that's partly because I really like the plus 115 there.
I like the plus 115, but
it's tough for me to get them to 6.
If I was minus 125, I'd still lay it. I don't care.
I just don't think they're going to be that good this year.
That's right. I wasn't sold on Kleiman as the coach to begin with. not 100% sold now.
Well, no, I will tell you this. I think there's still so much Snyder involvement there that we may not hear a whole lot about it, but I think there's got to be some kind of a power struggle.
Maybe.
I mean, that's just my guess. I don't know. So
there's just no world where he's just not good.
No, I think he's okay. I just think this was maybe a bad spot.
You got to be a lot better than okay. Hang on, if you're just okay, what school are you going to?
Well, I mean, he won 6 national championships at North Dakota State, but
it ain't the same.
I know it's not the same.
It ain't the same, Gary.
No, you're 100% right about that. All right, the Oklahoma Sooners. Lincoln Riley in this bunch. Just year after year, dominating this conference. Last year was the year, if you were going to catch them, you needed to catch them last year. And Iowa State got them in the regular season. Kansas State got them regular season. When it came down to, to the cutting time, Iowa State could not get it done. And with that said, they went 9-2 last year. Massive bowl win over a completely depleted Florida team. Sure. But still, 55-20 is still 55-20. So went 12-2 the season before that. Their SP Plus projected record is 11-1. FPI has got them going 11-1. Their win total is 11. The over and under both juiced at -115. I don't think that this is national title or bust because while they do have a bunch of experience back, they've got a bunch of dudes back, all these guys can come back again next year. Literally the whole team can come back again next year. A lot of experience on offensive line and defensive line mixed with some young, explosive skill players. Spencer Rattler has got the number 1 offensive line, the number 4 running back room, the number 2 wide receiver room. They got offensive talent for days. And they've always kind of had that. The offense is going to put up just obscene numbers this year. The defense, though, has got 8 starters back, and they're bringing in transfers. They got the number 3 defensive line in the country. They got the number 9 linebacker room in the country and the number 3 secondary in the country. And Alex Grinch finally has the pieces that he wants for his ideal defense. I think that this is a national championship team this year. Are they going to be able to get there? I don't know. Would it surprise me if they don't? No. But they finally have a defense to go with that offense. I've got them going over the 11. I look at this schedule. The non-conference is at Tulane, Western Carolina, and Nebraska.
Oh, no, it's not going to come in non-con. It's, will they lose a game? Are they going to go undefeated?
See, that's the thing. I think they are closer to undefeated than they are to losing 2 games, right?
Well, yeah.
So if the number's 11, not 11 and a half, then I like their odds of winning 12 as opposed to losing 2.
That's probably right. You got to go over there. That makes sense.
I mean, I cannot stress how much I like this team this year. That defense has completely sold it for me. They've always got a good offense, right? It took a little time with Spencer Rattler last year, but it was because they were unable to stop anybody, really, at the beginning of last year. This year, they're good. So I'm a big fan. Which, by the way, their conference odds to win, -150 to win the Big 12. So moving on, Mike Gundy. Let's talk about the Arkansas waterfall, right? The Oklahoma rattlesnake, all kinds of different stuff going on here. Gundy, so I was looking back. It kind of felt like whenever they're expected to be good, wait till the next season.
The next season.
That's happened a couple of times in the past. Doesn't happen every time, though. So with that said, their win total is 7.5 here. Juice is -115 over and under. It went 8-3 last year. 8-5 the year before that. FPI has got them going 8-4. SP Plus got them going 8-4. 8 seems to be their number. So, looking at the schedule, they got Spencer Sanders back, running back LD Brown. Sorry, LD Brown is back, and he kind of played better than Chuba did last year. So, they got a wealth of skill talent, new guys coming in. They got 3 offensive line starters back. The offense is rarely the problem under Mike Gundy, but the numbers haven't been fantastic under Spencer Sanders. So I do kind of expect improvement this year. I mean, Sanders going into his 3rd season. I expect good things. 8 starters and 11 of 12 top tacklers return on defense. They only allowed 28 points per game last season. That was down from 38 points per game the year before that. Like, cornerback Christian Holmes transfers in from Missouri to kind of help shore up the secondary a little bit. The road games at Texas, Iowa State, West Virginia, and Boise are going to be kind of tough to navigate. And then, of course, you got Oklahoma at home. I think they can get to 8.
Yep.
I 100% think they can get to 8. I think they're closer to 9 than they are to 8.
I completely agree with that.
So I'm going to roll with Oklahoma State over the 7.5 at -115.
Yeah. That's the answer. That's the answer.
Yes.
That's the answer. I like OK State. I do think they'll be better this year than they were supposed to be last year. They'll look more like what our projections were last year than this year. And yeah, I think
they had locker room problems before the season last season. That kind of hurt them, but they still won 8 games last year.
But they got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
They still got a lot of talent. I don't know what happened to this offense last year, okay? They tried to switch from being an all-offensive juggernaut and play great defense and bad defense, which is what they've always been, to we're going to slow the game down, we're going to slow the pace down, and then we're going to play great defense. And they did that. They did that for half the year. And I think Mike Gundy lost his damn mind and said, no, we're going back to my way of playing football, because my way of playing football is a hell of a lot better than this. And we're going to put up 35 points a game, and we're going to say, catch me if you can.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm very curious what'll end up happening here. So I think that they are good enough to make the conference title game. I also think that I just don't see them losing more than 4 games.
No.
I can't see that.
I can't see that as a floor.
And speaking of floors and whatnot, the TCU Horned Frogs, there's another team that I can't see a floor that's way down there for them. 6-4 last year, 5-7 the year before that. I don't think Gary Patterson is going to let that happen again. The FPI has got them going 7-5. SP Plus got them going 7-5. The win total is 7.5. To go over is -125. To go under is -105. So the sports books like the juice here. Like, they like them going over. Since 2017, TCU's kind of been propped up by their defense, but they've always been dragged down by their offense. I think that could change this year. Like, quarterback Max Duggan is back. Hopefully won't have to deal with any of the medical issues he did last year, etc. Right. Running back Zach Evans, wide receiver Quentin Johnson. Like, they showed flashes of brilliance last year. They are absurd playmakers. They got 6 offensive linemen back and a ton of skill talent returns. I think the offense, like this, on paper, it is the best that they've ever had on Gary Patterson.
Yep.
And I think it's going to show in a big way this year. Patterson's 4.25 defense finished number 2 in success rate in 2020 in the country. That's 33%. Like, that's how many. That's the plays that they allowed to be successful last year. They should be, fantastic again. They got a pair of FBS's best defensive ends and cornerbacks. They got studs everywhere. Like, the road schedule is going to be tough, but like, the whole schedule is full of winnable games outside of maybe Oklahoma.
I was just about to say, there's only one piece of red in this whole thing.
Like, even at Iowa State, like, I could see a world where they can beat Iowa State. Like, I'm for sure going over the 7.5 here.
Yes.
Like,
everything I said about Oklahoma State, I like this team a little bit
just
better.
Repeat. Right?
A little bit better.
I mean, it's -125 to go over. I don't even care about the juice. Like, this is going to be a good team. Yeah. Like, this is one to look out for. So, because I do trust Max Duggan a little bit. I think he's going to be fantastic, man. I think he's going to be fantastic. All right, moving on from there, the Texas Longhorns. Steve Sarkisian in his first year down in Austin. I'm not sure what to make of this. Win total sits at 8. They went 7-3 last year, 8-5 the year before under Tom Herman. I don't think that the wins and losses were the reason Tom Herman was let go, but we'll see. Whatever. With that said, quarterback battle, like last year's backup Casey Thompson, it's either him or it's Hudson Card, one or the other. I think Card is who Sark would like to win the job, because I think he does the things that fit better in Sark's offense. But Casey Thompson kind of showed out in that bowl game last year. He's got the experience, so not a ton of it, but he's actually been on the field. So they got 8 starters back on offense that averaged 475 yards per game. Like, they got studs. They got talent all over the field. Defense had experience last year. They allowed 28.5 points per game. It's not awesome, but it's pretty good, not whatever. 7 starters back. Defensive line is strong. Depth in the back 7 is a problem. Schedule, kind of rough for a first-year coach, especially when you're starting out with Louisiana, at Arkansas, Rice, and then, your road games at TCU, at Iowa State, at West Virginia, and your win total is 8. Like, I wanted to find a reason to go over here, but I can't. So I'm going to go under the 8. I think it's more likely this team goes 7-5 than they do 9-3.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with everything you just said. I think they're non-con starting out. Louisiana, Arkansas, they can absolutely go 1-1 in that.
Yeah.
There's a world where they could lose both. That would shock the hell out of me.
Oh, same here.
That would just completely shock me. There's a world where they win both. That would shock me as well. I think this team is more to the middle of the pack in this conference than they are to the top of the pack in this conference.
I think you're right. No, I mean, that could absolutely change, like, going into next season.
Yes, but we're not doing next season right now.
Yeah, we're not doing next season. So, with that said, we'll move off of them. Going to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Matt Wells going into his 3rd season there. And the Red Raiders have not finished above 500 since 2015. It's kind of insane to think about, really. What Mike Leach had built there stands no more. 4-8 in 2019, 4-6 last year. FPI projects them to go 7-5 this year. SP Plus projects them to go 5-7. And the win total sits at 4.5. So FPI, way off with this. So, but that's sometimes the way that these analytics go. That's the way they go. You can kind of always count on Texas Tech to have a good passing game, but 2020 it was not. So with that said, Matt Wells brought in offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie from TCU and brought in transfer quarterback Tyler Shuck, and Alan Bowman is out of here. Adios, muchachos. Red Raiders have, the defense. Like, biggest weakness was a weak pass rush. Everything else was okay. Like, not great, but okay. No real strengths. Only one real weakness. But they hadn't been great. So they brought in a ton of P5 defensive transfers to kind of help fix issues. I don't know what any of that means. Like, is Tyler Shuck going to be okay? Like, I'm going under. Like, it's plus 125 to go under the 4.5. It is minus 155 to go over. And I look at the schedule, and yes, it's like Stephen F. Austin, Florida International,
Kansas.
In Kansas. But
congratulations.
Can I get them to 5? I don't think so.
No. I can't get them there. I think 3 is the number. Could they win 4? Sure. Are they beating 2 people they're not supposed to beat? Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope. I just don't. I'm not a believer in this Texas Tech team. I'm just not.
I'm with you. Matt Wells, like, if he finishes below 500 again, is that it for him?
I don't know. I don't know what the standards are at Texas Tech. So I don't know the answer.
I think they might give him one more year after that, but man, like, I mean, you go something disastrous like 2-10, yeah, you're probably out of there. But you go 4-8. Okay, we'll try one more time. Everybody's kind of still hurting from all the COVID stuff, but I don't know, it's man.
Rough.
That's rough. Finally, we are closing out with the West Virginia Mountaineers. Neil Brown, another coach that we love, right? Did wonderful things at Troy. Good stuff. And he has kind of got this thing turning around. Went 5-7 in 2019 in his first season. This is his 3rd year there. Last year went 6-4. And honestly, might have had the best defense in college football last year after getting the defensive coordinator fired due to some locker room issues, we'll say. Like, Vic Kenning left before the season started, and they still had like the number 6 EPA defense in the country, and it was amazing. Probably the best defense overall.
Amazing.
Like, absolutely insane. SP Plus got them going 6-6 this year. FPI's got them going 7-5, and the win total sits at 6.5. To go over is minus 145, so they think it's more likely they win 7 as opposed to 6. To go under is plus 115. And I tend to agree. I mean, they got 9 starters back on offense, including quarterback Jared Dagey. Running back Letty Brown is back. All their skill players are back. Only 3 offensive line starters back, but they got dudes.
They'll be all right.
This is probably going to be Neil Brown's best offense in Morgantown. Defense loses Darius Stills, Tyke Smith, and number 1 tackler Tony Fields, but they return 8 starters, and they should still be one of the country's best defenses. Like, the swing game is going to be the opening game against Maryland, I think. But I think they can beat Maryland. Like, 100%. That defense, I think, can shut them down. And, like, if they're going to get to 7 wins, you got to beat Maryland to begin. I'm going over the 6.5 here.
I am too.
Like, I don't think this is close. I think they could likely win 8 games this year.
I was about to say, yeah, I think they could too. No, I'm with you. I think
agreed on everything?
I don't think. Hang on. No, we didn't agree on everything. I don't think. You think Maryland is a swing game? I think they beat Maryland pretty good. The swing game to me is Vautech.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also think they beat Vautech. I think they're a better team than Vautech. As bad as I want Justin Fuente to be something, he just hasn't been.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. So I think the over 6.5 is my play. It's your play as well. Let's talk about our conference championship game picks here. And, I mean, I made mine fairly clear in the picks. I like Iowa State and Oklahoma to both get there. I think Oklahoma's going to win the conference. It's minus 150, so it's not like crazy odds. I'm rolling with the Sooners.
So that's probably the right pick.
It's not the fun pick.
No. Oklahoma is probably going to win this conference. They're definitely playing for the championship, obviously, to be there. I'm going to go TCU.
Okay.
I think this might be the best team Gary Patterson's had in a long time, if not ever.
So you're rolling Oklahoma TCU in the title game. You taking TCU to?
No, I think
it's still Oklahoma.
No, I think Oklahoma goes undefeated.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. All right, let's close this thing out. There's nothing else, right? We're good. Okay. With that said, you want to argue with us? You can do so in the comment section. We would actually appreciate it if you would do so. We will respond to you. It's all good. If you don't want to do it down there, you can always do it on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And if you want to read more about it, of course, you can head over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Make sure and like the video, subscribe to the channel. And for sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you again next time.